We are very grateful that despite all the COVID restrictions, the government is allowing our community to gather to pay our respects to our teacher in such an intimate way. And we know many of us wish we can be there. And what an honor for those members of our community who can be present in this moment.
I live my daily life in such a way that I can go beautifully into the world, into my disciples, into my friends. I want to think beautiful thoughts, the thoughts of loving kindness, the thought of compassion, the thought of understanding, the thought of love. And every time I have a thought, I offer myself to you, to my disciples, to my friends, and to the world. That is going. That's my continuation. And I don't want to offer the negative things. I want to transform the negative things so that they become positive before I go, because I will enter into the cosmos, and the closest are my friends, my disciples. So when you look into my disciples, you can see me. When you look into my friends, you can see me. And this is very scientific. I continue to go into my disciples and to my friends and to the cosmos. You can see me outside of my body. And this is my practice. The candle does the same, you see. The candle is offering light and heat. And the light is offered to the world, the heat is offered to the world, but the light and heat is offered through the candle by itself. The light of candle can light the candle, and the heat of the candle can cause the wax to melt. And it is because like that the wick can absorb the wax, so the flame can be powerful. So any action made by the candle affect the world and affect itself. Any action come out from the candle goes back to the candle also. When you have a thought of loving kindness, the world profit and you profit also. The effect is immediate. When you say something very nice to another person, you offer that person receive, has an effect on that person, and you also profit from that loving speech. Or any action of yours can affect the world and affect yourself. And some action, some thought, some speech come back to you right away in this very moment. But sometimes a thought or a word would need more time in order to come back to you. You say something not true. That speech affect you right away now, but later on it will back to you. And people discover that it's a lie, so that goes back to you, and you have to bear the effect of that. There are things that we do now, but we have to suffer 10 years later or 20 years later. So the karma, it means the action, can have two kinds of effect: immediate effect and retarded effect. It's like some medicines. When you swallow the medicine, it will release some substance and it has effect now, but later on it will continue to affect you. So your thinking, your speech, and your act affect you right away, but later on will continue to affect you. So suppose here in the present moment you do something, or you say something very strong. It go out of the world and affect the world, and go back right in and affect yourself. But some action will go back to you later on, and that candle has to burn until this line in order to receive the retribution. In Vietnamese we say cha ăn mặn thì con khát nước. The father eats very salty, and the son has to drink a lot of water. So whatever you do, you think and you speak now will have an effect right now and will have effect later on. And suppose you do something very strong, and you have an effect here. If your son will have to get the retribution, because your son is your continuation. Your son is the most visible retribution. Your son is the most visible continuation of yours, or your daughter. Your daughter is one of the most visible continuation of yours, and it is you. Your son is you. Your daughter is you. Your disciple is you. Your friends is you, because you have been going to them every day. So I can see my continuation not only in this body, in this consciousness, but I can see my continuation in my disciple, in my friends, and in the world. You see, I have written a number of books, and some of my books go very, very far, and it is affecting the people who are ready. I have offered many wholesome thought, many insight in my books, and some of the books go into the prisons, and prisoners have been reading and practicing, and I am in prison because I like to be in prison in order to be helpful. So there are many prisoners who are my continuation, and there are Catholic monks and Catholic nuns who live in cloisters, and they have read my book, and they have written letters to me. They were able to release some of their views. They feel much lighter, and I am continued by them. So I can see me continued in many forms. So when at this point, when you don't see my body anymore, you say that Thay is no longer there. That's not true. Thay is there, but you have to get the eyes of sightlessness in order to recognize him. It's like when the cloud has become rain, the cloud is not lost, and you can recognize the cloud in her new form, the rain. So when you don't see Thay in this form anymore, you can recognize Thay's presence, Thay's continuation in other forms, and the most visible is his disciples. Look at the monks, the nuns, and the lay practitioners in Plum Village. You can see Thay. It's not very difficult. The way they walk, the way they smile, the way they cook, the way they sweep the ground, the way they help other people. Well, there's a lot of Thay inside. So the question can be answered like this: if you know where you are going in this moment, there will be no difficulty in knowing where you go after you die. You are dying and you are being reborn right here and right now in this very moment. You don't need to arrive at this point in order to die. You are dying in every moment, and you are being reborn in every moment, not only inside of yourself, but also outside. We know that there are many cells in the body, and the cells in our body, many cells in our body die every moment. In this very moment, many cells in us die in order to make room for other cells to be born. So birth and death happen right here and right now. You don't need to arrive at the age of 80 in order to die. You are dying now in order for you to be born now. Birth and death are happening in every moment. That is the teaching of the Buddha, and you have to practice looking deeply in order to see to see that. So when you say after I die, you mean that now you are not dying. That's not true. You are dying in this very moment, and you are being born right in this moment. Suppose death happen in every moment. Many millions cells die in this very moment. Every time someone dies, we organize funerals and we cry. But if every time a cell in our body dies, and if we organize funerals and cry, and then we have no time to do anything, no time left to do anything at all. Practice looking deeply in order to see that. So when you say after I die, you mean that now you are not dying. That's not true. You are dying in this very moment, and you are being born right in this moment. Suppose death happen in every moment. Many millions cells die in this very moment. Every time someone dies, we organize funerals and we cry. But if every time a cell in our body dies, and if we organize funerals and cry, and then we have no time to do anything, no time left to do anything at all. You have to have accept birth and death that happen in us every moment. So in order to answer this question, you have to practice looking deeply the way the Buddha proposed, so that you can see that birth and death are happening in every moment, and you are reborn in every moment, not only in your body and your consciousness, but in other forms as well. We continue, because this question is so demands a lot of looking deeply.
First and foremost, Thay wants you to remember that bodhicitta, the mind of love, is the deep aspiration, the dream of a true practitioner. Once the mind of love is eroded, we have no energy to realize our dream. We ordain in order to generate great love, great understanding, acceptance, forgiveness, inclusivity.
Let the eyes with which you look at me this morning tell me that you have have never died. Your smile invites me into the game whose beginning no one knows, the game of hide and seek. Oh, green caterpillar, you are solemnly using your body to measure the length of the rose branch that grew last summer. Everyone says that you, my beloved, were just born this spring. Tell me, how long have you been around? Why wait until this moment to reveal yourself to me? Carrying with you that smile which is so silent and so deep. Oh, caterpillar, suns, moons, and stars flow out each time I exhale. Who knows that the infinitely large must be found in your tiny body? Upon each point on your body, thousands of Buddha fields have been established. With each stretch of your body, we measure time from the non-beginning to the never-ending. The great mendicant of old is still there on Vulture Peak, contemplating the ever-splendid sunset. Gautama, how strange. Who said that the Udumbara flower blooms only once every 3,000 years? The sound of the rising tide, you cannot help hearing it if you have an attentive ear.
Depuis que tourne la roue, que tourne la terre, de nos joies, de nos misères, tout autour du monde. Chacun cherche le bonheur, chacun de nous veut le suivre. Mais sais-tu que le bonheur, il est là, il est toujours là. Le bonheur, il est au fond de notre cœur. Et nos rêves les plus chers sont bien dans chacun de nous. Le bonheur, c'est maintenant, pendant que l'on chante. Je m'en souviendrai longtemps, et cela m'enchante. Chacun cherche le bonheur, chacun de nous veut le suivre. Mais sais-tu que le bonheur, il est là, il est toujours là. Le bonheur, il est au fond de notre cœur. Et nos rêves les plus chers sont bien dans chacun de nous.
You observe it with all your concentration. You see smoke rising. Again, smoke rising is a new continuation of the piece of paper. And then we can look up and say, bye-bye, sheet of paper. See you again soon. Because the sheet of paper is now in its new form, smoke. It will join a cloud. And tomorrow we might encounter it again in the form of a raindrop right here on our forehead. We have to recognize the sheet of paper in its new manifestation, the heat that is now in us, that is now in the cosmos, the smoke that is now in the sky, and maybe tomorrow in our cup of tea. And then there's some ashes left. Put the ash back to the ground, and you see a grass blade, which is the continuation of the ashes. So you cannot reduce something to nothing at all. A sheet of paper, like a cloud, can never die. It can only be transformed into other forms. And that is why the true nature of the flame, the true nature of the paper, the true nature of the cloud is a nature of no coming, no going, no birth, no death. No birth, no death.